It's my favorite topic, and we're bringing it back.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Derry with you. It is a June 6th edition, a Thursday, June 6th, and a Friday, June 7th edition of Locked On Lions, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. That includes Apple, Google, Spotify, and we are live and direct and free. Please subscribe to our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Shout out to our everydayers who are out there that watch or listen to the podcast daily. That includes my man, Ken McDonald. I met Ken last night at Stumblebum Beer Company in Troy, new place that is opening up. And I saw Ken. He said, Matt Derry, watch the show all the time and check you out. So thank you to Ken McDonald, one of our everydayers that is out there. Follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions on Twitter, and the Matt Derry Facebook fan page. Locked On Lions today is proudly brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Looking for tickets? Check out Gametime. Coming up on the show today. Oh, we're bringing it back, ladies and gentlemen. We're rolling it out. We're like ludicrous. Roll out. Kicking competition talk. Yes. Open up the newspaper today. Free Press, Jeff Seidel's column. We got ourselves a kicking competition. Woo! This is a rite of spring. This is when summer starts. Every year, the Lions have a kicking competition. We will explain coming up momentarily on the show. Also, mini camp ended today. Secondary looked very good. Very good. We will explain about that coming up momentarily. Also, Lions made a list. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 6 times. The NFL's top 25 most watchable games this year, and 6 of them involve your Detroit Lions. We will tell you about that. And also, there's a list out there right now of the most miserable fan bases in sports, and the Lions are on there. We'll get into that coming up momentarily here on Locked On Lions as well. But great to have you with us here on a Thursday edition into Friday. If you missed yesterday's show, please check it out. We had Nolan Bianchi from the Detroit News, who covers the team along with Justin Rogers. Nolan was great, so go back and check that episode out as well. Shout out to Dan Campbell, Lions head coach, who today, at the end of his press conference, gave a little love to Mike O'Hara, who is retiring from the Lions beat after 47 years. Mike covered the team forever, from the 70s all the way to the 2000s at the Detroit News. Then I think he took the buyout there and then joined DetroitLions.com as a columnist alongside of Tim Twentyman. But we've had Mike on the show before. We love Mike O'Hara. Really, really good guy. He's retiring. I think his last day is Monday down at 222. So congrats to Mike, and really cool of Dan Campbell to shout him out today. That Dan Campbell's first class, man. He really is. And made it a point today to give Mike some love, give him a little hug, and it was a nice gesture I saw today on social media. All right, so kicking competition. At the end of practice the last couple of days, the Lions have put Michael Badgley, the incumbent, and James Turner, the rookie from Michigan, put them on center stage, spotlight. Hey, in front of the team, let's have a little kicking competition. Yesterday, and this is what I think spawned the column in the Free Press today. Yesterday was a bad day for Badgley. He went toe-to-toe with James Turner, formerly of Louisville, then was at Michigan last year. 55-yarder, Turner nails his, Badgley misses. 56-yarder, Badgley misses his, Turner makes his. And it spawned this piece in the Free Press today, and I did some digging and I talked to some folks. The Lions do believe that they have a legitimate kicking competition right now between the Money Badger, who's been around for years, and of course has had, 3 stints with the Lions, and James Turner, who really didn't show off a humongous, huge leg at Michigan, but was very, very solid, really, really reliable. Wasn't, an All-American or anything, but was really, really good last year. And of course, started his career at Louisville and then was on the Michigan national championship team. And I'm reaching for it right now when I go to my kicker list that I always have prepared. But yes, Michael Badgley was with the Lions in 2022, was let go, was in Washington last year, Carolina. He's made the rounds, and then came back and kicked in the last 4 games last year after the Lions released Riley Patterson, who is now back with Jacksonville. But we've had this discussion numerous times, and I'm just going to have to repeat myself, but I'm doing it. All right. There's a buzz around Allen Park about this being a legit competition. We have had speculation on this show. I've told you about Jake Bates from the Michigan Panthers and how he's booming 63, 64, 65 yarders at Ford Field. And I'm saying, listen, why not bring him in? Look at what the Cowboys did last year and bringing in a soccer player, and the guy was a first-team all-pro for the Cowboys last year. The drafted kickers like Anders Carlson and Jake Moody, they struggled last season. They did not live up to the hype. But yet you find somebody off the street who maybe is a soccer player. In the case of James Turner, he's a legit kicker. Jake Bates hadn't kicked since high school, didn't even kick in college, and yet he was booming kicks and still is booming kicks for the Michigan Panthers. Now, over the last few weeks, my UFL moles have told me that Jake Bates has struggled a little bit and has been wide left, wide right on shorter kicks. We're going to have to wait until the end of the UFL season to see if the Lions are interested. But I'm being told, and it's now being, it's being reported and printed, we could have a legit kicking competition with James Turner, who was not even drafted. It's kind of an under the radar move as a UDFA. When I watched him kick for Michigan last year, I didn't sit here and go, oh man, he's like the Alabama kicker, or, Moody from 2 years ago, where he's getting drafted or somebody's going to pick him up. But he has done very well. Today, reportedly, Badgley went 8 for 11 on his kicks. It was a lot of wind. He missed some kicks today, and Turner continued his strong kicking prowess today at the end of practice as well. So with that being said, again, how much stock do you put in this, and how much do you believe that Brad Holmes and the Lions really, 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 in all bold print and all caps, really, really care who their kicker is? It's obvious that for the first 3 years, the Lions have cycled through like dozens of kickers. I mean, I can read the list again. It's a lot of fun. Zane Gonzalez, Randy Bullock, Matthew Wright, Austin Seibert, Ryan Santoso, Aldrich Rosas, Riley Patterson, Seibert again, Dominic Eberle, Michael Badgley, Rosas again, Sam Ficken, Patterson, Badgley. And now we're at Badgley and Turner, at least for now. Turner hasn't made the team, but there's that argument that Dan Campbell maybe doesn't want somebody who's booming 55, 60, 65 yarders, because that takes away from the team's identity, which is if it's 4th and 3 and it's a 50-yarder, we're going. If it's 4th and 5, we're going. Heck, 4th and 7, right? That's been the Lions' identity. We're not settling for 3. We're going to get 6. And we have the offense, and we have Ben Johnson, and we have the quarterback in Jared Goff that we believe we can convert on those plays. And if we miss out on it, all right, the other team has the ball at the 33-yard line, the 35-yard line, whatever. I still believe the Lions want to have a good kicker. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's a top priority. But kid they have now in James Turner, who's living in Saline with his parents at a condo, is off to a good start. So we do a daily podcast. We let you know what's going on at minicamp. And, I'm hearing good things about Turner so far. We'll see. Campbell made it a point of saying the other day, they think Michael Badgley has improved his range and that he can make long kicks. They just didn't give him the opportunity to do it last year. And he's older. He's never been a guy that you thought, oh, he's like Jason Elam or Brandon McManus or any of these, 65-yard. Oh, we'll put him out there from 65, which is what the Chiefs do with Butker, which is what the Ravens do, right? So with Justin Tucker. We saw it firsthand at Ford Field with the doink and in kick. So keep an eye on this. James Turner versus Michael Badgley has gotten interesting down at the 222 RWD. All right. Coming up next, let's get into it a little bit. Secondary. What could be the starting lineup to start the season, at least at corner, took place today. How did it go? We will tell you next, right here on Locked On Lions. Locked On Lions is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest, right? Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially talking to somebody who's unbiased on your life. So today, maybe I want to talk about something that I'm feeling with my family. I might be thinking about the same thing next week. And you're thinking, man, I probably should talk to somebody. All right. It's not just your favorite football team like the Lions and how you're feeling about that or anything else. It's about therapy and helping clear your head, talking to somebody that is neutral. Well, it's different for everybody, but most of us have bigger problems, like I said, than your favorite sports team or anything else. So if you're thinking about starting up therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedon. You're going to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. It's our friends at BetterHelp. All right, back on Locked On Lions. Thanks for tuning in. It's a Thursday edition, June the 6th, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. By the way, minicamp ended today, mandatory minicamp. They'll have some OTA stuff next week, but it's likely only going to be rookies and younger players. The Lions are excusing from OTAs if the guys don't have to show up. I mean, it's voluntary anyway, but it's going to be a lot more younger players and a lot of the veterans. They're just letting work on their own or anything else, or even stay home. So we're getting closer to training camp, folks, next month. Can you believe that? Man, we're getting ready for football before you know it. All right. So today, with all the injuries, of course, there's guys out in the secondary, including Brian Branch, who of course is coming back from a foot surgery and all of that. But today, the Lions had lined up. So at the end of practice today, the Lions went through some 2-minute offense drills with the team trailing. Like they put them in scenarios like down 5 with a minute and a half to go, starting at their own 25. They did a bunch of these with both the first team offense and Jared Goff and the second team offense with Hendon Hooker and Nate Sudfeld. And they Lions had their issue scoring today on the defense. Again, they're not in pads. All right, it's just shells and helmets, but the defense again stood out. We've talked about this throughout minicamp. Defense looks better. It really does, despite the fact that guys like DJ Reader and Brian Branch are out. So regardless, and Kirby Joseph too. So today at outside corner, you had Terrion Arnold, rookie first-round pick from Alabama, Carlton Davis, who of course was acquired via trade from the Tampa Bay Bucks, playing on the last year of a pretty big contract, and Amik Robertson, the free agent signee who got a 2-year deal, ex of the Raiders, was at the nickel spot today. Arnold, Davis, and Robertson shut down the Lions passing game during the drills when they were out there together. Now there were some completions. Donovan Peoples-Jones made a couple of plays today. Jamison Williams and all of that. But Arnold and Davis on the outside, Robertson at nickel. Remember, Amik Robertson has made it a point of saying, I wasn't just brought in here to be a third down guy or rarely play. He's a competitor. He's feisty. He's a trash talker, and he wants to be out there. And you look at all of the competition that the Lions have developed now at cornerback. You got their first 2 picks, Rakestraw and Arnold, are corners. Carlton Davis, Kendall Vildor is back. Khalil Dorsey, who got injured yesterday, is back. Stephen Gilmore is a guy the Lions are interested in and taking a look at. Brian Branch, who of course started most games last year as the nickel corner and can kind of play that amoeba or hybrid role, excuse me, where he's at safety, where he's at nickel corner. And I think Brian Branch can play anywhere on the field. So Amik Robertson is a guy that I think has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Stereotyped maybe as a little guy that can only play in the slot. And he wants to play everywhere. He believes he can guard the best receivers on the other team on the outside. He doesn't just think he's a specialty player. And the Lions gave him a multi-year deal because they like his makeup. They like how confident he is. And so today he was at nickel with Davis and Arnold, and it went very well. They did very well, that group together, against the first team offense. And remember, it was a year ago, not a year ago, but you know what I mean. 6-7 months ago, whatever it was, when the Lions finished their season in January in San Francisco. And Cam Sutton was on the field. Kendall Vildor was on the field. Brian Branch, yes, was on the field. Will Harris got some burn. Jerry Jacobs now wasn't on the field for that game, but was on the team. They've made some big time changes, and it's already showing up. And that's what you want. Brad Holmes didn't work out half of the guys that they were allowed to from the draft in Allen Park. They were corners. He didn't do that just because he wanted to see some of his friends. He did that for a reason. Brad Holmes was going to upgrade that cornerback room over hell or high water. First two moves he makes around free agency, the trade for Carlton Davis, the signing of Amik Robertson. First two moves he makes in the draft. Arnold at 28. What did they move up to? 27? Or no, they moved to 23. Arnold at 23. Rakestraw at 61. For a reason. I think Brad Holmes got sick and tired of seeing Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Mike Evans, CD Lamb light this defense up. Now, does this team need to have a better pass rush and get somebody opposite of Aiden Hutchinson to get to the quarterback? Yes. Do they need Derek Barnes to not swing and miss on Dak Prescott in the end zone, leaving Kendall Vildor out there on an island against CD Lamb? Yes. And Vildor is back on the team for depth. But if he's playing a lot, then there's going to be a lot of injuries if he's playing a lot. So I like what I'm hearing on that front. I think that is pretty cool. Speaking of Lions and Cowboys, I saw this today. It was very, very interesting, and I wanted to bring it up. And that is the top 25 most watchable games in the NFL for 2024. This was put out by a website called bookies.com. They picked the top 25 most watchable games this year and the top 25 least watchable games. On the least watchable games list, the Lions were not listed ever, not once. I think it was Panthers-Eagles in like week 14 is considered the least watchable game. On the most watchable game list, Chiefs and Niners week 7 is considered the most watchable game in the NFL, Super Bowl 58 rematch. Lions made this list, though, 6 times. Number 7 on the list, 7th most watchable game is Lions at Cowboys week 6. Game number 8, Lions at 49ers week 17. Game 13, Bills at Lions, week 15. That's, of course, CBS 425. Sunday night, number 18, Lions at Texans, primetime game. Lions at Packers, 425 game week. That comes in at number 22 on the list. And at number 24 on the list is Packers at Lions, the Thursday night Amazon game in week 16. So of 25 best games, the bookies.com is saying these are the best, most watchable games in the NFL the entire year. They call it the BWI, their watchability index. They analyzed the 272 games, got them down to 25, said here are the best 25 games of the year, and the Lions are a part of 6 of them. Number 1, that's awesome. It's very, very cool. That means that people want to watch the Lions are good, and they're playing good competition. Number 2 is that kind of sucks because that means the Lions will be playing a lot of hard games, a lot of tough games. The games picked, Cowboy game, Niners, Bills, Texans, Packers, twice, those are not going to be easy. Last year, you looked at the schedule, you went Raiders at home, please. Panthers, Falcons, at the Chargers. There were a lot of gimmies last year. We thought the Bears were going to be a gimme. They weren't. I mean, both games were close. This year, there's not a lot of gimmies. Off the top of my head, well, let me look. If I'm looking at the schedule, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of gimmies here. Everyone's going to say at Arizona week 3 is no gimme. Tennessee, I think is going to be bad. October 27th. I think the Titans are going to struggle with a rookie coach and a second-year quarterback in Will Levis. That's not a good team. Other than that, these are all going to be very difficult games. Very difficult games. So pretty cool, though, that the Lions made 6 of the top 25 most watchable games in 2024. All right. Are Lions fans miserable? One website says they are. I don't necessarily agree with this, but I want to share it with you. We'll do that coming up next. All right, folks, are you looking for tickets? Are you traveling and thinking about, I'm going to be near Dallas. I'm going to be up in Boston. I want to go to the NBA Finals. Well, Gametime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. So, Celtics and Mavs, game 1 tonight. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat is all there for you on the Gametime app. I just told you about the Lions schedule. You're looking to go to get some games? Download the Gametime app and see what the tickets look like. They're really well priced on there. Easy to find. They do last minute tickets. They do flash deals. They do zone deals sometimes where you're getting money off. And that view from your seat in the venue is absolutely the best. All right. The best. So you want to see Kyrie in Boston if you're up there. If you're down in Texas on business, you want to go see Celtics, Mavs, games 3 or 4 or 6. Go to Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, folks, I saw something today and I was a little bit surprised by it, but let's see if you agree or disagree. I was surprised, but because of the history of the organization of the Lions, maybe they're right. But on Twitter at Big Game Boomer, top 50 most miserable fan bases in sports. New York Jets, number 1. That's a lock. Cleveland Browns, number 2. Never been to a Super Bowl. Colorado Rockies, number 3. I didn't know they had fans, but okay. Arkansas Razorbacks, 4. New York Mets, 5. Mets are pretty bad. I could see the misery there. Rutgers fans, number 6. Dallas Cowboy fans at number 7. Who's going to argue that? Miami Hurricanes, number 8. Oakland A's. See, I would have put Oakland A's near the top because they're losing their team. Their ownership is moving them to Las Vegas. Heck, they're going to be in Sacramento for 3 years before they even get to Vegas. It's ridiculous. And then at number 10, Detroit Lions. Are the Lions fans one of the more miserable fan bases in all of sports? Should they be? I could see this 2 years ago, this list. I could see this 3 years ago. But now, are they that miserable? Are you that miserable? I'm not seeing it. Other Detroit sports teams did make this top 50 list, including the Pistons at 16, the Tigers at 29, the Red Wings at 49, and Michigan State at 47. U of M did not make this list. A mile mater, Syracuse came in at 44, and that's low. They should be much higher on this list. Syracuse fans are miserable. But the Lions, a top 10 most miserable fan base. Florida Gators, by the way, were 11 and Carolina Panthers 12. I'm not seeing that. Kentucky Wildcats need to be higher than the Lions. Pittsburgh Pirates are on this list, need to be higher than the Lions. White Sox fans, they've got to be miserable. That team is so bad. But I don't think Lion fans are as miserable as they used to be to warrant a top 10 finish in the top 50 most miserable fan bases. Yes, it's been negative for a long time. Yes, they've never been to a Super Bowl. Yes, the team gagged away the NFC Championship last year. They were 30 minutes away, running away with the NFC Championship game. But I think this fan base right now is excited. I think you're enthusiastic. I think you're juiced for this season. I don't think would I put them on the top 50 list, the most miserable? Yes. You have to based on the history. And the fact that there are still plenty of Lion fans out there that are miserable, think the next shoe will drop, think Packers are going to beat them this year, all those things, and take over the division. And they had their chance last year. Oh my gosh, what was Dan Campbell doing in the championship game? I get that. But a top 10 most miserable fan base? No. Check out what Kentucky Wildcat basketball fans act. White Sox fans, Syracuse fans, trust me, they're miserable. New York Ranger fans right now are miserable. Ask them how they're feeling. Maple Leafs, come on. All right, that'll do it for us. We're back again tomorrow for a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. Thanks for making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Talk to you again tomorrow.